a significant political upheaval, Burkina Faso's ruling military junta, led by Captain Ibrahim Traore, has recently dismissed Prime Minister Apollinaire Joachim Kélem de Tambela and dissolved the government. This move marks a pivotal moment in the nation's ongoing struggle with political instability, security challenges, and economic hardships. Since seizing power in September 2022, Traore has faced mounting pressure to address these multifaceted crises. As the nation stands at a crossroads, the critical question arises: what will be Ibrahim Traore's next move to steer Burkina Faso towards stability and prosperity? Background: Burkina Faso, a landlocked nation in West Africa, has experienced a tumultuous political journey marked by coups and transitions. In September 2022, Captain Ibrahim Traore emerged as a central figure by leading a coup that ousted interim president Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba. This takeover was primarily justified by the need to address the escalating Islamist insurgency that had plagued the country. Traore's ascent to power was met with hope and skepticism as citizens yearned for effective leadership to tackle the nation's pressing challenges. Upon assuming control, Traore's administration took decisive steps to consolidate power and address security concerns. One notable action was the expulsion of French forces in February 2023, signaling a shift in Burkina Faso's foreign policy and a desire to explore new international partnerships. This move was accompanied by efforts to strengthen ties with countries like Russia and Turkey, aiming to diversify the nation's alliances and seek alternative support in combating insurgent threats. In the economic realm, Traore's government recognized the critical importance of the mining sector, particularly gold production, which stands as Burkina Faso's primary export. In November 2023, the Council of Ministers approved the construction of the country's first gold refinery. This initiative aimed to enhance control over gold resources, increase government revenue, and create employment opportunities. The refinery was projected to produce approximately 400 kilograms of gold daily, marking a significant step toward economic self-reliance. Despite these initiatives, the security situation remained precarious. In April 2023, Traore declared a general mobilization to rally the population in support of the military's efforts against insurgents. He pledged to reclaim rebel-held territories and emphasized that negotiations would only be considered once the insurgency had been significantly weakened. This stance underscored the administration's commitment to restoring national security, but also highlighted the formidable challenges ahead. The political landscape took another dramatic turn in December 2024, when Traore dismissed Prime Minister Apollinaire Joachim Kélem de Tambela and dissolved the government. The official decree did not provide specific reasons for this decision, leading to widespread speculation. Analysts suggested that internal disagreements within the junta, dissatisfaction with the government's performance, or strategic recalibrations in response to ongoing challenges could have been contributing factors. In the aftermath of the dissolution, Reem Talba Jean-Emmanuel Ouedraogo, who previously served as the communications minister and government spokesperson, was appointed as the new prime minister. His appointment was seen as an attempt to bring fresh perspectives into the administration and to strengthen communication channels between the government and the public. As Burkina Faso navigates this complex period, the nation's leadership faces the daunting task of addressing intertwined issues of political instability, security threats, and economic challenges. The decisions made in this critical juncture will have profound implications for the country's future trajectory and its quest for stability and development. Political instability. Political instability has been a persistent challenge in Burkina Faso, significantly impacting its governance and development. The nation's political landscape has been characterized by a series of coups, transitions, and leadership changes, each contributing to an environment of uncertainty. The most recent upheaval occurred in December 2024, when Captain Ibrahim Traore, the leader of the ruling military junta, dismissed Prime Minister Apollinaire Joachim Kélem de Tambela and dissolved the government. This decision, announced through an official decree, did not specify the reasons behind the move, leading to widespread speculation and concern. The lack of transparency surrounding such critical decisions has often fueled public distrust and further destabilized the political environment.
Vous êtes en phase de consolidation. En tout cas, félicitations pour tout le travail abattu. Nous avons pu suivre avec vous les opérations dernièrement, avec beaucoup d'amertume aussi.
Analysts have proposed several potential factors contributing to this instability. Internal disagreements within the junta may have played a role, as differing visions and strategies among military leaders can lead to power struggles and abrupt policy shifts. Additionally, dissatisfaction with the government's performance, particularly in addressing security and economic challenges, could have prompted the leadership to seek a reorganization in hopes of more effective governance. The frequent leadership changes have also hindered the establishment of consistent and coherent policies. Each transition often brings a new set of priorities and strategies, disrupting ongoing initiatives and delaying progress. This inconsistency can deter investment, both domestic and foreign, as stakeholders may perceive the environment as too unpredictable for long-term commitments. Furthermore, the concentration of power within the military has raised concerns about the marginalization of civilian voices in governance. The suspension of political parties and limitations on democratic processes have further exacerbated tensions, as opposition groups and civil society organizations struggle to have their concerns addressed. This exclusion can lead to social unrest, protests, and increased resistance against the ruling government. The role of international actors also cannot be ignored. Regional organizations, such as the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and global powers, have expressed concerns over Burkina Faso's political trajectory. While some countries have offered support to the junta, others have imposed sanctions or threatened diplomatic isolation. Navigating these external pressures while maintaining domestic stability presents a significant challenge for Traore's administration. Ultimately, addressing political instability requires a commitment to inclusive governance, clear policy direction, and efforts to build trust between the government and the population. Without these measures, Burkina Faso risks remaining trapped in a cycle of political upheaval that hinders long-term development and stability. Security crisis. Burkina Faso faces one of the most severe security crises in its history, with terrorist attacks and insurgencies destabilizing vast regions of the country. The ongoing violence, primarily driven by extremist groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State, has led to widespread displacement, loss of lives, and economic disruptions. Since 2015, Burkina Faso has been at the center of a jihadist insurgency that has spread across the Sahel region. The government, including previous administrations, and now the military junta, under Captain Ibrahim Traore, has struggled to contain the escalating violence. Attacks on civilians, military installations, and government officials have become increasingly frequent, creating an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. One of the most pressing challenges in combating insurgency is the limited capacity of the Burkinabe armed forces. Despite efforts to recruit and train more soldiers, the military faces shortages in equipment, intelligence capabilities, and logistical support. Many remote areas remain vulnerable to attacks due to the difficulty of maintaining a consistent security presence. In response to these challenges, Traore's government has taken several measures. One of the most notable actions was the expulsion of French troops in early 2023, a move that signaled a shift away from traditional Western alliances. Instead, the junta has sought security partnerships with other nations, including Russia, which has been rumored to provide military assistance through the Wagner Group. Additionally, Traore has emphasized community involvement in security efforts. The government has expanded the Volunteers for the Defense of the Fatherland (FDP) program, which recruits and arms civilians to assist in counterinsurgency operations. While this initiative has helped bolster security in some areas, it has also raised concerns about human rights abuses and the potential for exacerbating ethnic tensions. The humanitarian impact of the security crisis is profound. Over 2 million people have been displaced due to ongoing violence, with many seeking refuge in overcrowded camps with limited access to food, water, and medical care. Schools and businesses have been forced to close in conflict zones, further disrupting everyday life. Looking ahead, the effectiveness of Traore's security policies will be crucial in determining the country's stability. Strengthening intelligence capabilities, securing sustainable international partnerships, and addressing the root causes of extremism will be essential steps in tackling Burkina Faso's security crisis. Economic challenges. Burkina Faso's economy is facing severe challenges due to a combination of political instability, security threats, and external economic pressures. Captain Ibrahim Traore's administration must navigate these difficulties to stabilize the economy and improve living conditions for the population. One of the biggest economic obstacles is the ongoing security crisis. The persistent attacks by extremist groups have significantly disrupted economic activities, particularly in rural areas where agriculture is the main source of livelihood. Farmers have been forced to flee their lands, leading to reduced food production and increased reliance on imports. This has contributed to rising food prices and worsened food insecurity across the country. The government must find ways to restore stability so that agricultural production can resume without constant threats from insurgents. Another major challenge is the gold mining industry, which is a crucial pillar of Burkina Faso's economy. While gold exports generate significant revenue, much of the mining sector is controlled by informal or illegal operations, leading to lost government income. The country has also been plagued by gold smuggling, with significant portions of its resources being sold on the black market. To address this issue, Traore's government has proposed setting up a state-controlled gold refinery to ensure that revenues benefit the nation rather than illicit actors. However, implementing this initiative effectively will require strong enforcement measures and international cooperation to curb smuggling. Inflation and the rising cost of living are also major concerns. Due to supply chain disruptions caused by insecurity and global economic factors, essential goods such as food, fuel, and medical supplies have become increasingly expensive. The depreciation of the West African CFA franc has further weakened purchasing power, making it more difficult for ordinary citizens to afford basic necessities. Traore's administration must work on policies to stabilize prices, such as subsidizing essential goods and negotiating better trade agreements with regional partners. Foreign aid and investment have also been affected by the country's shifting political alliances. Burkina Faso's decision to distance itself from France and the West, while strengthening ties with Russia and other non-traditional partners, has raised concerns about potential reductions in foreign assistance. While Traore seeks alternative sources of funding, such as partnerships with Russia and China, these relationships may come with conditions that could impact Burkina Faso's economic independence. Balancing these international alliances while securing much-needed financial support will be a key challenge moving forward. Unemployment, particularly among the youth, remains a pressing issue. Many young people in Burkina Faso struggle to find stable employment, making them more vulnerable to recruitment by extremist groups or involvement in illicit activities. The government must prioritize job creation through initiatives that support small businesses, vocational training, and infrastructure development. Addressing these economic challenges requires a comprehensive approach that includes restoring security, increasing transparency in resource management, attracting investment, and implementing social programs to support the most vulnerable. If Captain Ibrahim Traore's government fails to tackle these issues effectively, Burkina Faso risks further economic decline and social unrest. However, with the right policies and international cooperation, the country has the potential to rebuild and strengthen its economy for the future. Formation of a new government. With the dissolution of the previous government, Captain Ibrahim Traore now faces the task of forming a new administration that can effectively address Burkina Faso's pressing challenges. The composition of this government will be critical in determining the country's future direction. A key question is whether the new government will include civilian leaders or remain entirely military controlled. While Traore has justified military rule as necessary for stability, prolonged exclusion of civilian voices risks deepening public discontent and undermining international legitimacy. Balancing military leadership with civilian expertise will be essential in gaining broader support and ensuring policy effectiveness. Additionally, the government's ability to implement meaningful reforms will depend on selecting competent officials with experience in governance, security, and economic management. Transparency in the appointment process and clear policy direction will be crucial in building public trust and avoiding further instability. The international community will also be closely monitoring the formation of the new government. ECOWAS and other regional bodies have urged a transition towards democratic governance, and failure to take steps in this direction could result in sanctions or diplomatic isolation. Ultimately, the success of the new government will hinge on its ability to unify the country, address security threats, and implement economic recovery measures effectively. Security strategy. Captain Ibrahim Traore's administration faces a critical challenge in developing a security strategy that effectively combats the growing insurgency and stabilizes Burkina Faso. Given the increasing attacks by extremist groups, any security plan must address both immediate threats and long-term stability. One of the primary elements of Traore's security approach has been the expansion of the Volunteers for the Defense of the Fatherland, or VDP program. This initiative recruits civilians to assist the military in counterinsurgency operations. While it has helped to increase security coverage in rural areas, there are concerns about inadequate training and potential human rights violations. Ensuring proper oversight and professionalization of these volunteers will be essential for the program's success. Additionally, Traore has sought to diversify Burkina Faso's security partnerships. The decision to expel French troops and instead seek assistance from countries like Russia has marked a significant shift in the nation's defense strategy. Reports indicate that Russian paramilitary groups, including the Wagner Group, may be providing training and logistical support to Burkinabe forces. While these partnerships offer immediate tactical advantages, they also come with risks, including potential dependency on foreign military aid and strained relations with Western allies. Strengthening intelligence capabilities is another crucial aspect of the security strategy. The government has emphasized the need for improved coordination between military and intelligence agencies to anticipate and prevent terrorist attacks more effectively. Investing in surveillance technology, intelligence gathering, and counterterrorism operations will be key to dismantling insurgent networks. Another critical factor is community engagement. Extremist groups often exploit local grievances to gain support, and a purely military response may not be enough to end the violence. Building trust with local communities, addressing socioeconomic disparities, and promoting de-radicalization programs will be necessary to achieve lasting security improvements. The security strategy must also consider the protection of displaced populations. With over 2 million people forced from their homes, ensuring their safety and access to humanitarian aid is paramount. Failure to do so could lead to further radicalization and recruitment into extremist groups. Ultimately, the success of Traore's security policies will depend on a balanced approach that combines military action with socio-political solutions. Without addressing the root causes of extremism and improving governance, Burkina Faso risks remaining trapped in a cycle of violence and instability. Economic reforms. Burkina Faso's economic challenges require urgent and strategic reforms to restore stability and growth. With the country heavily reliant on agriculture and gold mining, economic disruptions caused by insecurity and political instability have severely impacted livelihoods and government revenues. One of the key economic initiatives proposed by Traore's government is the establishment of a state-controlled gold refinery. This move aims to reduce the smuggling of gold, increase government revenue, and ensure greater control over the nation's resources. However, successful implementation will require transparent policies, strong regulatory frameworks, and cooperation with local and international stakeholders. Agricultural development is another focus area. The government has introduced policies to boost food production, improve irrigation systems, and provide support for farmers. Given that a significant portion of the population depends on agriculture, increasing productivity and ensuring food security are essential for economic stability. Infrastructure development is also a priority. Investments in roads, energy, and communication networks are necessary to facilitate trade and attract foreign investment. However, the ongoing security crisis has hindered infrastructure projects, making it essential for the government to first stabilize affected regions before pursuing large-scale development. To encourage private sector growth, Traore's administration has considered tax incentives and business-friendly policies to attract investors. However, concerns over political uncertainty and security risks continue to deter significant foreign investments. Rebuilding investor confidence through transparent governance and a clear economic roadmap will be critical for long-term growth. International relations also play a role in Burkina Faso's economic reforms. The country's decision to distance itself from France and seek new alliances may impact trade and foreign aid. Diversifying economic partnerships and maintaining strong regional ties will be necessary to sustain economic progress. Ultimately, effective economic reforms will depend on the government's ability to implement policies that address immediate financial crises while laying the foundation for sustainable development. Without clear economic direction and stability, Burkina Faso's economic recovery will remain uncertain. Dialogue and reconciliation. One of the most critical aspects of stabilizing Burkina Faso is fostering dialogue and reconciliation among its divided communities. Over the past decade, the country has suffered from political upheavals, ethnic tensions, and insurgent violence, leaving deep wounds in society. Captain Ibrahim Traore's administration must prioritize efforts to rebuild trust, unify the nation, and create an environment for lasting peace. A major challenge in this process is addressing the grievances of various political and social groups. Burkina Faso has experienced multiple coups and power struggles, leading to deep distrust between the government, opposition parties, and civil society organizations. Many citizens feel excluded from decision-making processes, which fuels frustration and political instability. Traore must engage all stakeholders, including former leaders, opposition groups, traditional authorities, and youth representatives, to develop a roadmap for national unity. One key element of reconciliation is addressing human rights abuses committed by previous governments and security forces. Reports of extrajudicial killings, unlawful detentions, and mistreatment of civilians have contributed to public resentment. Establishing a Truth and Reconciliation Commission could help uncover past injustices and allow victims to share their experiences. A transparent and accountable process would demonstrate the government's commitment to justice and healing. Another significant factor in the reconciliation process is ethnic and community relations. In recent years, Burkina Faso has seen rising tensions between different ethnic groups, often exacerbated by extremist groups seeking to divide communities. Some communities have suffered disproportionately from violence, leading to accusations of government bias in protecting certain populations. Traore's administration must promote inter-ethnic dialogue, ensure fair security measures for all, and encourage programs that foster cooperation rather than division. Religious leaders also play a crucial role in reconciliation. Burkina Faso is home to diverse religious communities, including Muslims, Christians, and followers of traditional African religions. Historically, these groups have coexisted peacefully, but the recent rise of Islamist extremism has created divisions. The government should work with religious leaders to promote peace, counter radicalization, and strengthen interfaith cooperation. Reintegrating former insurgents is another vital aspect of reconciliation. Many young people have been drawn into extremist groups due to poverty, lack of education, and limited opportunities. Some fighters may be willing to surrender and reintegrate into society if given a chance. Establishing rehabilitation programs, vocational training, and economic incentives could help reintegrate former militants and prevent future recruitment by extremist organizations. Regional cooperation is essential for reconciliation efforts to succeed. Burkina Faso is part of the wider Sahel region, where instability in neighboring countries such as Mali and Niger affects its own security and social cohesion. Traore must work with regional partners, such as the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the African Union, to support peace initiatives and share best practices for conflict resolution. Ultimately, dialogue and reconciliation are crucial for Burkina Faso's long-term stability. Without addressing the root causes of division and violence, any short-term political or military gains will be fragile. If Traore can successfully lead these efforts, he will not only strengthen his government's legitimacy, but also pave the way for a more united and peaceful Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso stands at a critical crossroads. Following the dissolution of its government, Captain Ibrahim Traore faces immense challenges in restoring stability, addressing security threats, and revitalizing the economy. His administration's next moves will determine the country's trajectory, impacting millions of citizens and shaping Burkina Faso's role in the region. A balanced approach that prioritizes security, economic recovery, governance reforms, and national reconciliation will be necessary for long-term progress. However, the road ahead remains uncertain. The effectiveness of Traore's policies and his ability to navigate both domestic and international pressures will ultimately define Burkina Faso's future. As the country embarks on this new chapter, the people of Burkina Faso, regional partners, and the global community will be watching closely to see what unfolds next.